evening, everyone. I'm Anjali. I work as an archivist at Archives at NCBS. I'm very pleased to be welcoming you all to the 61st edition of the Archives Public Lecture Series. As some of you who have attended these talks before or are familiar with the space might know, the Archives at NCBS is a public collecting center for the history of science in contemporary India. We house over 200,000 process papers, photographs, equipment, recordings, and more. We're situated in the basement of the ELC building, where we are right now. Do drop by if you have time. You can also find us online on archives.ncps.res.in. The public lecture series is essentially talks by individuals based on their vast body of work and service. These talks are framed around their explorations in and around the archives, and more broadly around the history of ideas. The series has included discussions by artists, archivists, academicians, lawyers, teachers, journalists, and more. For this lecture, which is the 61st of the series, we are honored to welcome Arvind Gupta. It's hard to capture Arvind's extraordinary contributions to science education over 40 years. He did a BTech from IIT Kanpur in 1975 and then left a corporate job to pursue a passion that became a lifelong quest, making science fun for children. He has written 24 books on science activities, translated over 1,000 books into Hindi, and presented 125 films on science activities on Doordarshan. He worked at the Children's Science Center at Ayuka, Pune for 11 years. The center produced 8,700 short 2-minute videos on simple experiments and science toys in 20 different languages. The videos have been viewed by over 100 million children worldwide. Every day, thousands of books are downloaded from his popular website, arvindguptatoys.com. He has received many honors, including the Distinguished Alumnus Award of IIT Kanpur and the Padma Shri. Once the talk is over, we'll have some time for Q&A, after which we can head towards the archives for a tour. There'll also be tea and snacks available, so please do join us. Now, Professor Vijayaraghavan will now be speaking a few words about Arvind.
Thank you very much. There's very little to say about Arvind's past and present that hasn't been said right now, and you all know that really well. I must say that this is about my claim to fame, which is I've known him since 1970. So that's a great pleasure and honor. And apart from all the wonderful things he has done, one characteristic of Arvind is behind his extraordinary scholarship, public outreach, science for the people. He's a genuinely wonderful person. And he has the audacity and daring to take on impossible things, but do it in such a pleasant way that, despite all the other stuff we do, all of us, when we do things, I would say about 75 to 90% of what we do is unnecessary, and half of that unnecessary stuff may be nonsense, but he doesn't ever tell us so. Arvind.
Thanks. Thanks, Anjali. Thanks, Vijay, for this very, very generous. I'm absolutely delighted. Why don't you come in the front? There's a lot of seat. There's some more here. Thanks, Venkat, for inviting me to the NCBS, my first visit to the NCBS. I'm absolutely delighted to be over here. Haldane wrote a book called Everything is a History. And 30 years back, we got it published in the APLS. And the history of science education. After the Second World War, many countries were totally devastated, ruined, bombarded. And many countries started reconstruction. They were able to construct school buildings, but there was no money left for their work. That's the time, there was a very nice science teacher. His name was J.P. Stephenson. He was in the London school, science master. He wrote a small book called Suggestions for Science Experiments in Devastated Countries. The title itself is very suggestive. Very simple material you could do. And when that came out, UNESCO was delighted by it, because not only it found resonance in countries which were devastated and ruined, but in other countries. It got a tremendous accompanying response to this book. And then UNESCO decided to deepen it, widen the scope of it. And in 1956 came out UNESCO source book for science teachers, which is like a Bible for science teachers even today. Physics, biology, chemistry, all rolled into one, full of simple experiments. Myself was inspired by the Hoshingabad science teaching program in the mid-70s. Professor Arvind Gupta, he did a PhD from Caltech, was a molecular biologist, and worked with Professor NCBS at the TI. That's the time when Professor Yashpal and Anil, they thought that the horrendous way science is taught in schools, they made a small set of experiments for the municipal schools in Mumbai, and they tried them out. And this also got very, very nice. See smiles on the faces of the children, their eyes lit up when they did these experiments. And Anil got very inspired by this, and he left his job in the TI and started one of the first NGOs, Kishore Bharati, which started the Hoshingabad science. I think Hoshingabad science was the only experiment in the country post-independence where an NGO worked for 25 years with over 1,200 schools sustained. Many people involved with this. And I'm going to show you some of the little things which I did then. In 1978, I used to work with Tata Motors, it was Temple at that time. I heard Arvind Gupta in 1972, I was a second-year student, a very backbencher, and I didn't ask any questions after the lecture, but something which he said, and I mulled over it for years. You know, many people say that we've covered so much area, so many schools, etc., etc. Listen, he said it. You know, we've been working there for 5 years. And from a city, we have a very romantic image of a village. But once you move to a village, you encounter class, caste, gender. It's very, very difficult. We've been trying very hard. That became a kind of an intellectual pursuit. A person with such sterling qualities, qualifications, honesty, trying his best and still not being able to. So this is what made me go for a year. So I went there and I saw that it was very, I said, Kanpur is very far off, Pune is very far off. I'm going to go to the local hut, the local bazaar, which is the weekly bazaar. Buy one specimen of everything sold to the whole site and try and see what the possibilities of doing science. I was getting my cycle inflated, and I saw the cycle value. 10 paisa perfect. 78. I don't know whether it's available, whether it's says that no one uses cycle vacuum. And if you take 2 matchsticks, they work very snugly, and make a very flexible joint of 2 like this, and you start by teaching angles, triple, acute angle, right angle, obtuse angle, straight angle. It's like a flexible coupling. You can cross the drive at any angle. If you have 3 of them, you can loop them together and make a triangle. It's a very special kind of triangle because all the matchsticks are mass-produced in the factory, so these are all 60 degrees. So this is, children get a very nice feel for 60 degrees. With 4, you make a square. With 5, you make a pentagon, hexagon. You make all these 2-dimensional polygons. And those are wonderful properties. These are all flexible joints. Pull this up, it becomes a rectangle. Give it a push, it becomes a parallelogram. But the circular movement, which is constantly changing its outer profile, is very, very flexible. Inspect the pentagon, pull this out, this becomes a boat shape, a trapezium. Push this in, this becomes a kind of house shape, combination of a square and a triangle. Push this in, becomes an isosceles. Again, very, very shaky. The square will look very square in print, give it a push, it becomes a rhombus. But then you do a triangle, and no matter what you do, a triangle means a triangle. Now this is bedrock of all civil and mechanical. You can't make a bridge with square members. If the train would come, the bridge would start doing a dance, start doing a jig. Very unstable. You can't make the roof of a house with a square or rectangular bus, because if you put tiles in top, it's just going to collapse. So if you wish to make anything stable, you've got to put a diagonal element. Just divide the rectangle square into 2 triangles. No. School-going kids could very easily grasp this with a model like this. Now these are all with joints of 2. If you just poke a hole with a long needle, push a third matchstick. You make a D joint or a joint of 3, and you make holes in the 3 vertices, and then you just push these. And what you make would be a very nice tetrahedron. We just saw that the triangle is only rigid polygon. Here's a two-dimensional figure. All those surfaces are triangles. It's not good to assume this. It's a very fundamental kind of structure. Now this is nature's own brick. All bodies is essentially tetrahedral. It's a cube to bodies. It's a lot tetrahedral. So we have these 4 marbles inside. The CH4 4 atoms of the hydrogen, and the 4 atoms of tetrahedron, which means carbon atom. Schoolboy kids could make simple molecular structure. Not to see a picture of it, but make a 3D model of it. You could make a joint of 4, you could make a joint of 6, 3 bits of vacuum, 4 bits of, and with this, suppose you made a cube, you put the perimeter on top of it, make a house. If you put the prism, for instance, twice the tetrahedron on top, you will get a small temple. This is an octahedron. You fight that on the sides, and because it's only direction symmetrical, you could just give that 12, you could rotate like a dot. And this is the icosahedron. So you take a joint of 6, but you only use 5. You see, take every junction. Otherwise, it would just become like a flat chatai, like a flat mat. It will never curve up. And the nice thing is that you can break this. You can make a radome. You can flex this to like this. I was 25 years old. This is 1978. And for the first time, I felt that I had done something worthwhile in my life. I'm very happy about it. And this kind of hooked me to science. And I said, this is much better than making trucks. You don't know what to do in life. It's good enough to know what you don't want to do. Right? Which is nice. And I think it's a question about, I spent 6 months over there doing this. The other 4 months was with Laurie Baker. He was my college day icon. I think the only person at that time, whatever I read, I was not a Marxist, I was not a leftist, but I thought that the only person who had touched the lives of the poor was Laurie Baker. So 78, I took a drink and I went with Brad. He said, "Who are you?" I said, "Sir, I do this." He said, "Come in, son." He never took us. Laurie Baker always designed the back of envelopes. He never took an assistant, but it was nice enough. So 4 months I studied all the buildings which he had done. Really amazing. Well, a problem with us in here, one thing which I learned from Laurie Baker, that we take ourselves too seriously. Right? Laurie Baker would make you laugh all the time, draw cartoons, crack jokes. Do dead serious work. That's what I learned from. Don't take yourself. The world will continue on. Don't worry. This is a very simple motor. In the Hoshingabad science, we struggled for many years. We make a simple motor. We used to take a cork, cut a slot, and wind a wire, put 2 pins, and scrape the wire. Then put two wires for connections. It was very complicated. This is the simplest motor on earth. It's a new battery, otherwise it would be black magic. First things first, it's a new battery. It's driving the current. Whenever current flows through a coil, it becomes electromagnetic. There's a permanent magnet here. All DC motors have something called as a brush, and which is not visible because it's a very small one. This is insulated copper wire. You take a meter of it and you mount it on the battery itself. It comes up like a slinky. And then you tie one knot here, the other. If I put it like this, no current will flow because it's insulated through layer of varnish. Then you scrape one side completely. It's shiny copper. Other side, you scrape 3 sides, but this is still the insulation, still brown. So whenever the copper is in contact, current flows, this becomes electromagnetic. Whenever the insulation comes, switch off, on off in every rotation. And this is an amazing brush. It's a Nobel Prize idea. in the world of science teaching. Brilliant. A lakh children in our small science center, they make this motor. You should see the gleam in the eyes of the children. If you start with Faraday's laws of induction, right? I was telling you that I did electrical engineering. They gave me the distinguished analyst award. The electrical engineering department wanted to honor me. And I said, sir, 5 years I studied electrical engineering, but I discovered the beauty of the motor much later. I think once if a child makes the motor, give the laws of induction, put them on into place much better. They would understand. One of the cardinal principles of education is from the concrete to the abstract. Don't start with bombarding theories and definitions. Start with activities. Start by doing things. So this will create a very rich experiential base on these pegs, these abstract concepts children can very easily handle. This is one. This came much later. Those are. I was also discussed. If you the battery, it was 5 years. It's not a rich man's game. The poorest child can make a motor like this. These are 2 safety pins. It's a word cycle tube. These magnets are 75 cents each. 1 rupee for the copper. Now this is called as a syringe generator. This is possible only because we have these neodymium magnets. These are rare earth magnets. Very, very powerful. And this is a animal syringe. In the barrel, they go, you can see they reciprocate. I've just put a piece of rubber. So this is the magnetic circuit. Then I take 36 gauge of insulated copper. How many turns? There are 1,000 turns. 1,000 turns. Kids take half an hour. Wind it like this. The start and the end, you scrape the insulation and you stick on them. Okay. That's it. Now if I shake the magnet, it's like a moving magnetic field, very powerful moving magnetic field. Lines of force are cut by this coil, there is a EMF generated, and you're generating electricity. This is a generator. There is no fake battery inside it. Whether you have a 220 megawatt generator or 1,000, the principle of science doesn't change. This is something which got us some glory. Now these are these ring magnets. But they all come from China. And the 6 magnets, a piece of rubber slipper. And this is the Chinese way, they're much cheaper. All right. And the magnets, probably the Chinese made the diameter of the pens to suit their magnets. So without scraping the wood very. The front was upright. So I only know the opposite force. If this is north, they have to be south. If this is south, they have to be north. So they are right. Opposite. The rear ones repel. So they must be similar force, but it doesn't matter. Now, the front ones are pulling it. The rear ones are pushing it. If I put my finger over here, you see that this is just hanging in the air and it's floating. I'm not chanting a mantra. There's a lot of friction between my finger and the pen point. So this is the old seed. It's very difficult to cut glass, but old seed is very easy to cut. So we have it spins, it levitates, it runs. If you were to go to Beijing, the airport, international airport is very far, 70 kilometers. You take a manual train in 10 minutes to go inside the city. This is the reality. Our kids get a feel as to what. This is a wonderful experiment, not design. This is the Vikram Sarabhai Committee Science. Vikram Sarabhai was the architect of India's space program. And it was the best, the first and the best science center at one time. Then it went to sleep, which is another story. They did this experiment with children 50 years back. Every child was given empty matchbox. Same brand, same size. And they were given a challenge. You have a week's time. And in this empty matchbox, you've got to pack in things. Only one specimen of each. And the child who comes back after a week with the maximum number of things, specimens in the matchbox will get a prize. Very much within the realm of children, they started to get, one put a sharpener and a rubber, not much use. Mother was cooking poha, so he took a mustard seed, a cumin seed, one एक चावल की करीबी, एक मूंग का था, one strand of hair. For a week, they were looking what is small, what is micro. And all the children gathered after a week. They were all asked to stand and shake their matchboxes. If they made sound for out without inspection, there was a void inside, there was some cavity inside. Trust me, a child, we actually made a film on this, inspired, creating that how many things in a matchbox you see. A child was able to type 150 things into a matchbox. Science is not hardware. Or most of the laboratories are junkyards for high-tech junk. But science is the ability to see, look at critically at phenomena close to you. Kids learn best, the other principles of education is from the near to the far. Start from what the kid has. The child can relate that everyday objects in use for science, it's magic to the child. So use everyday objects. We make several toys, we don't call them science. The horrendous way science is taught in schools and maths is taught, it gives children a lifetime's distaste. It's beautiful, sir. What children like to play, whether they go to school or not, whether they learn science or not. So we call them toys from trash. And this is a matchbox and a bit of string. And it's like the rail trap. You can see the two parallel rail tracks. This is the engine. This starts from Bopudi, comes to the Pune junction. Likes the Pune junction very much, doesn't want to go to Bopudi. Right. If you stick a picture of a rabbit, it's like a rabbit going hop, hop, hop. Right. If you stick a picture of a spider, it look like that, or a lizard, like a lizard climbing a wall. Right. Just a matchbox. And how is it made? You just take a long needle, along with the thread, poke it over here, take it up and slant it. It comes up in this way, first round. Again, poke it, take it up. You can just see that. This is what it is. Two slant threads that gives it enough friction to get going. This is a beautiful toy. This is just a matchbox. What we have done is we have stuck two paper clips. You can see the paper clips are edging up. 2 millimeters, they're popping from the edge of the the shell of the matchbox, so that we can weave a thread through it. Put the drawer to make it heavy, and that's it. If you hold the thread taut, right, it's a very intriguing motion. It's like a shimmering fish coming down. One old newspapers in 1962 cut into squares because the cheapest paper is the newspaper. But this folded into a big triangle, into a small triangle. You can see this by the letter B, B for that, B for victory. They also look like the ears of an animal. And no scissors, make two slightly longish and roundish ears, fold this to the front and fold this to the back. 30 seconds, you're Mr. Rabbit. Rabbit's ears, face. And this is the game. You grab you hold the legs just below the body. You grab the tape and move it forwards and backwards. And it's something which is dynamic, something which moves, always attracts attention. Sitting ducks remain sitting ducks. Kids get bored with them very fast. There should be a dynamic element in the role. See this? This is the drama. Just a little stick, piece of straw. Beautiful mechanics. Same thing if you take a piece of paper, And this has been documented for 300 years. In 2 minutes, you fold a flattened bird. Japanese kids have been doing this for 300 years. It's kind of dovetailed into the rituals. They would pray, have rice cakes, and the whole family will sit and fold paper. And because it's dovetailed with the religion, it goes very long. And this is amazing. No glue, no scissors. I have to think that this is not Western, this is an Oriental country, neighboring country. We don't even learn anything from them. It doesn't require much resources. And what we did was, we took the Japanese bird and just put a helicopter in the tail. So it's like a fan-tailed helicopter. You can see this. It's an old ballpen refill, 1 centimeter, in which a pin is rotating. Refill is the bush of the carrot. It's aerodynamic. It doesn't burn a hole in your pocket. It's eco-friendly. You can't buy it online. If you're clever, you can only buy stupid toys. Toys are made with rights. Rabindranath Tagore said 80 years back, the best toy is the one which a child can possess. The child should participate in making it. Parents can help get the material together. But that's the best toy. This I have a friend in Pune, Anil Lauchet, the best rehabilitation center for drugs in the country. He was on a program called as Amir Khan's Satyamev Jayate, and he got 60 lakh rupees. It's the best. He wrote his experience of Murtala the Vyasmukti came in Marathi. I translated it to Hindi. He used to come home. He's a medical doctor who is won the Sahitya Akademi Award for writing. He's a great oratorist. A few years back, he took his origami exhibition to Tokyo. It's like carrying poles to Newcastle. So he used to come home because I was translating his book. I said, no, Anil Bhai, for 40 years I've worked with kids. I don't like all these elaborate things. He would, one page he would make one to Ganesha and peasant. I would be foxing that. I said, no. 3 minutes, it should move, it should be a dynamic talk. And this is what he taught me. So from the A4 size, you can make 4 of these. And he's no more in the world, but you can see there's a little rough over here. That's like a spring, and this is what it does. So, utterly simple, utterly elegant. I think most useful toys, take a little strip from a newspaper. Why newspaper? Because it's very light. One side, you want a centimeter, make a cut. On the other side, make a cut like this. Interlock both of this and it will look like a fish. A fish is supposed to swim in water, but this is a flying fish, and you can just see this. It's the most amazing flying fish. This is from Paul Jackson's Dynamic Toys. It's a lifted. But we make a lot of toys from plastic straws. They've been banned and banned rightly. You've got to find some other substitute for them. But if you take a straw and just cut a point, and this becomes like a baby crocodile's mouth. You can see this open close. It's like a reed. I'm going to put this in my mouth and blow my lungs out. The best way to disturb a class. In order to see how it makes sound, because the reed was inside my mouth, it's hidden. I'm going to keep this outside. And instead of blowing out, I'm going to suck in air. It's what vibrations produce sound. Should we mark this up? Can't we make ho halla, everyone enjoy? This is the class, have a very joyous science class. The first steps in science should be the most joyous. Should be hooked. We want to do nothing else. Science is the most exhilarating subject to that. What we did was just make two holes over here. And so we can we have a few notes. And of course, the best experiment is to keep doing it, keep making the noise, and keep dropping it, making it short. Something very amazing happens. You may forget all the experiments, पर ये आपकी रूह के साथ में चिपक जाएगा, आप कभी नहीं भूलेंगे इसका. Shorter the straw, higher the pitch in the shortest one. It's very high pitch, and this is what children teach us. Every week we have 2 free workshops for children. 50 kids would come to us and spend 3 hours, and they would make 15 things, 12 things with their hands and take them back. Trust me, in 11 years, they used to bring a little different about some poha. No one ever opened their boxes. They waited for the session to finish before they could use the toilet. This is the magic. It is not the order you ask for attendance. No, schools are rituals. Ask you to make us kids sit down now, but the mind might be wandering. You have no control over the mind. This is what the kids. We also say that the only teacher who keeps alive and awake and is responsible is the one who takes children as partners. The best teacher on the earth is the one who says, I don't know the answer. Let's discover it together. Then the fear of the teacher is shed. Kids become friends, and it becomes a much more hospitable. This is what the children taught us. They always make crying noises like that. This is it. There is a very nice toy. This is a very, very old toy. Oh, what is that? Yeah. For 40 years, I had one of this, which I kept very close to my chest until someone came to see me in Ayuka. And he was very fascinated by what he did. I said, so what do you do? He said, he makes shields for bombs. But he said, so you do, I do destructive thing, you do such constructive thing. What can I do for you? I said, you can also contribute. He said, I've got a plastic molding machine, so we started making this. It's about 7-10 rupees, but it's very, very we make 31 different pumps. No one in the world. I wrote a book called as Pumps from the Dump. And I'll show you 2-3 pumps. And this is water goes 15 feet, right? We also have a slogan, a very provocative, very anarchistic slogan, that the best thing a child can do with a toy is to break it. We preach this. Why do children break toys? Because they are the only curious cats left. They want to know what's inside the tummy. And a good toy is one which they can open up, see what the innards are, and put it back again. Now this is the old film. This was needed about 25 years back. A film can, the discovery is a bottle cap is a lovely piston for a film can. So this the rest is you make a little valve over here. You can see that. We just put a, can you see this opening and closing? Right. This is like a valve. So this is one. You can inflate a this is the balloon pump. Now just hold it tight. Yeah. doing this, you can burst the bulb. And this is the old cycle tube. And film cans, film cans unfortunately have gone to obsolescence. Every era has its own junk. It also tells me that I'm getting old and I've got to look at newer materials now. Find some substitutes for this. And of course, the next molecule pump is this. This is a plastic straw. You find the center and take a skewer or a broomstick and push it. Leave about 2 finger widths, make a half cut on both sides. Now both these arms can swing, and you bend them into a triangle and wrap a bit of tape so they stay in place. That's it. Now this is a very lovely centrifuge. You can see this. Very nice. On a hot summer day, kids love to be sitting in. Very nice to cool hot heads. Very nice. It's really a centrifuge. Spin with both hands. Water will go to 15 places. Professor Kapotkar at one time, he was the chairman of the Atomic Energy Commission. He was also the chairman of IUCA. He came and he jokingly said that the Iranians would be very happy to have a centrifuge like that. That's what he mentioned. Oh, we had. Oh, this is an amazing toy. This has been a darling of physicists for the last 100 years. Nothing original. It's been there for 100 years. People have freaked out with this. A pencil with a rubber on one end. You make a couple of notches, 3 notches over here. This is a card sheet. I explain the center. Make the hole a little big. It should not be tight. You can see that it's loose. Put a pin inside the rubber. This white rubber is to stop the fan from flying. I have a magical ball and refill in my hand. If I just rub this, something amazing. Non-trivial. 6 major research groups. You don't need the Hadron Collider for doing this because the child is at the same level as the biggest scientists. And people have freaked out. There's a book called The Flying Circus of Physics by Earl Hawk. You can take this, you can make a T, put another pencil across, make a T, put 2 fans here, 2 fans. You can make 2 go clockwise, 2 go anti-clockwise. People have done it. You can change the direction of rotation with this. Very amazing. And this is a survival tool. What schools are, I've been to 3,000 schools. Schools are boring from the word go. Boring, dead boring. And if a clever child wants to survive school, they must learn. This is a survival tool. Teacher is dictating notes with the child. Right? Very diligently. When the teacher turns the back, that's what God sent them for, to play, not to learn stupid things. This is from a hardware store, this is the recent discovery. You have this is the flexible cover. Makes a lot of noise. If you have a slightly bigger one, it's amazing. Very readily available. Actually, this is the best. I forget about this. Oh, this is the icing of it. This is a woven sack for cement, for all kinds, right? So you just take a dozen strands from this entire knot. That's it. Oh, I think the room is too AC. You can see that you can see that this strand is, they just go like that. It's the best demonstration for static electricity. And the nice thing about this is that if a child brings a torn sack into the whole school can take the experiment back to the community. Right? The NCRT still talks about the gold-leaf electroscope. I've never seen one working. Oh, another things with the Tetra Pak. There were 60 experiments with the Tetra Pak. Now, this is a kind of Tetra Pak. The last company has 250 If you multiply the length, the width, and the height, you get the volume. Very close to 200. We cut this into half, and this is 100 mm. You can cut this into a quarter, and you have a 50 mm. So you can make measuring cylinders very size. It's a very nice thing. How much water inside? 100 ml. And take this 100 ml, then I take my cup. All the kids should be carrying this in their pocket. Shamba gela, donsha gela. They get a very good feel as to how much water they have. And if they're adventurous, they can even see the output. And this is my design. This swan, this flying swan. This is designed by a mathematician at Harvard, 1928. Within 4 years, it would complete a centenary. Here's a piece of paper, you can keep it. Every time you flex it, you see a different picture. You see butterflies, frogs, snakes, eagles, butterflies, frogs, snakes, eagles. 4 pictures which come in a sequence, one after the other. And if you have 4 of them, you can weave a story in them. And of course, if you ask any 4th class child, the hands will be up. Insects eaten by the frogs, frogs eaten by the snakes, snakes eaten by the eagles. It's like a beautiful machine. If you have an A4 size paper like this, no glue, no scissors, a scale and a pencil. In 3 minutes, you've got this. And then science is full of cycles and sequences and chains. The life cycle of a frog, the life cycle of a butterfly, cycle of the seasons. You could depict anything. And this is not just limited to the study of science. If you're a historian, don't talk about the Mughal period these days. That's taboo, right? You talk about the Maratha period. Who was the first Maratha king? You put the picture, the date, the name. Then who ascended the throne, right? Who killed his father? And who came next? You know, all these kinds of, you can make history interesting. You can show dynasties with this. So a clever teacher could use it for all kinds of things. This we call this a 14-page unending. There are not too many dynamic paper models like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 19, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 is the last page for the book. 14 begins again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 13. For every child has a favorite story, which they can hear 50 times without getting bored. They know it inside out, but still they like it. So they choose their favorite story, divides into 14 parts, and they illustrate it. So each child is a different, rotating, dynamic, moving picture book, right? And each is different from the other. Very amazing project for children. But this is nice. This is a piece of rubber with 3 pencils. This of course makes a very nice abacus. Only 9 beads you can put. There's no place in the 10th, so you put 9 to 10s. And then this will be 11, and these are will be 99, and so this is very simple. The other was in the teaching light. A plane mirror, a beam of light strikes the plane mirror, it rebounds to the same part. What happens to the concave mirror? Now, we make city diagrams in the back. No one understands. This is what you can see. And we did a focus. It gives you a visual peg to hang the concept by. If it's a convex mirror, what happens? They diverge. Very, very simple teaching area. In 1990, there was a National Association for the Blind. India has 12 million blind children, visually. The largest thing. These are the population of many countries. This is the extent of blindness in our country. So they said there's a challenge. Design teaching aids for preschool blind children. I always thought that the Hawaii slipper was a gift to education. Brahminical education. So no one wants to touch a slipper. If I pick up a slipper from the roadside, my wife is very angry at me. But just 3 minutes to cut it. And you cut it with a shoemaker's knife, and you can just see the shape. this not use of red soap, so no rubber dust. It just sits over here. Look at this. So with 40 puzzles, just using rubber sleeves. We are too enamored by things which come from the West, and we stop. This is a colonized mind, but we don't look at that reality with love, empathy, compassion. We don't look at it. But this is not at all us. I was also admit that we were not very good at science when I was we were good clerks of our times. We could paint anyone. Just three of us doing everything we did. In the government department, Ayuka is funded by the UGC, our hands are tied at the back, right? But 8,700 videos. There would be a rush of people wanting to meet us. Do you know Tamil? Well, we'll show you, dub this film in Tamil. There's no free lunch. You've got to extract a price from you. That's how we got so many films. Now this is designed by Dilip Bhatt. His wife was born in Kothur, Pune. Dilip is based in Ahmedabad. He works for ISRO. When the son was born, he was born blind. Completely blind. Visually challenged. And this is what they designed for this. We made some changes, but essentially this is very good. Velcro is two strips, one with loops, the other with hooks. This is only with hooks. So this is my drawing scale. And this is just like a fishing line. This is a crank wire. And if I crank the handle, the wool gets wrapped. Wool is a lot of fibers. Now, any child can just draw this. And wool sticks on Velcro. Right? And they're extremely sensitive, tactile feet. Bhagwan kahin se leta hai to kahin deta hai. They're very today every dance school uses this. They're very, very this is a fruity straw, and slightly fat straw. We seal both the ends. You can take them, and then with the scissors, nip the top right and the bottom left. So diametrically opposite the two holes. A circular hole is very difficult to make in straw. You need just a ticket checker single punch, right? This is a fruity straw. You made a hole over here. If I shut this and blow, air will come out right. I passed on some of those things. You can share it. If I just reverse it, you can see the direction of rotation. This is something very nice. This comes from a book. What is that? VSO. Science Teacher's Handbook. I pass it in this interview. VSO is Voluntary Services Overseas. It's a British charity. Many people will. Over the years, they've sent some 50,000 young Britishers, boys and girls, into the third world. See what is poverty firsthand. Experience what is poverty. What is not having a meal a day. Go and share your skills. The motto is that sharing skills, changing lives. So three of them got together, youngsters, in this book. And this skeleton comes from there. This is half A4 size. From this page, we make clothes. This is the skull, this is the rib cage, this is the pelvis, fibia, tibia, 200 odd bones in the human body. Not very last story, third, fourth, last story. Just scissors, and loose. That's it. So this is a science project. We can also ask them, skeleton of a man or a woman? Is it a Hindu? Is it a Muslim? Is it a Christian? So much poison is being dinned into our heads. The Genome Project only demonstrated that 99.999% of all humanities genes the same? Why on earth do we kill someone just because he speaks a different language, has a different religion, or was just born accidentally in some other part of the world? That's the reason. For probing much deeper biases, which happen. There's a friend of mine who just came to AP. His name is Vivek Monteiro, TI Father. And he did his PhD, and this was the hilly 1970s, when many people were trying to find a meaning for road trips. They said, we're not going to make bombs just because Abdul Kalam made missiles. Missiles are bad for humanity. Missiles should be banned from the world. Right? We should use this mind. Our health is in the brain. Our education is in the dumps. Right? We must use not to make missiles and people won't match the stick. But do something worthwhile. We have no right to kill. We can't give life. How can we take life? It's a moral question. He made a small model, a little strip of paper with religious symbols. He made a cross. There's a cutout of a small cross. Christianity is crescent moon for Islam, moon for Hindu. 5, 6. And the experiment made a film of this. Sun is one, you can check it out. If you take it out in the sun and you bring it and you see these cross and the crescent moon, if you take it slightly above, they become blurry. If you take them slightly up, they will overlap. Right? And you can't make out who's who. They overlap, showing the universality of our religions. This is not science, but this is much deeper, much more beautiful, much more ethical, much more moral. Two more things. This is a book by P.K. Srinivas. He was my mentor. I dedicated one of my books to 2 people, mass missionaries. One was P.K. Srinivas. He was based out of Chennai. And the other was my classmate, M. Prakash. Every year, M. Prakash students win the maths gold or the silver, maths Olympiad, for the last 30 years. Unmarried, married to maths, 3,000 books in his room. Up to 2 o'clock at night, he just teaches maths. 30 ways of looking at the biological zero. That's what M. Prakash is. This is the book by P.K. Srinivas, based out of Chennai. Amazing, and I've never met him. He wrote a book, he wrote 60 articles for Hindu. Maths with bus tickets, maths with coins, maths with the calendar, maths with matchsticks, maths with the matchbox. And we had one person, Dr. Manmohan Chaudhary, he was a teacher in Antikanpur. And he became the joint director. I said, Kuch to karo mamu. So because of him, they collated all those 60 articles, maths club activities. World class. This is a book for us now, the calendar. Now just a typical calendar. Any month, so we just take a 2 by 2 matrix. 2 plus 10 is 12, 9 plus 3 is 12. Okay. What is this? 19 plus 11 is 30, 12 plus 18 is 30. 10 plus 18, 28, 11 plus. Well, let's be slightly more adventurous. Let's take a 3 by 3 matrix, 9 digits. 2 plus 18 is 20, which is double of 10. 16 plus 4 is 20, which is double of 10. 9 plus 11 is 10, double of 10. What is the sum of all this? The average is 10, the 9 digits. Let's become even more adventurous. Now you see 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7 days in a week. This is arithmetic progression. No NCRT maths tells you that the arithmetic progression right there inside the table. Right. Look at this. 1, 8, 15. If you go Friday in the first, second would be on the 8th, 15th, 22nd. But progression, the difference of 7. If I look at this, I just look at this. 42. So I didn't add them up. 3 plus 9 is 12, which is double of 6. 4 plus 8 is 12, which is double of 6. 5 plus 7 is double of 6. Right. 6 is the average. 7 days in a week, 6 to 7. Look at this. Difference of 7. There's a middle. Friday. 1 plus 29 is 30, double of 15. 8 plus 22 is 30, double of 15. Average is 15 into 5. Right. Take a 4 by 7 matrix, 28 digits. 3 plus 30 is 33, 9 plus 24 is 30. 4 plus 29 is 33, 8 plus 25 is 30. 5 plus 28 is 33, 6 plus 27. 30 plus 20, 23. How many pairs of 23 will make 28 digits? 14. I'm very bad at tables, but 33 into 14 should be the answer. It's in Kannada, by the way. No, Karnataka has printed both his books, number 1 with the calendar and number 9, both in Kannada. They're there. I think in the end, small story in my hand. But this is the story again, not original at all. This is Lilian Oppenheimer. And she regaled children with this story for 50 years. It's from a newspaper. This is a story about Captain Topi Shankar. Topi Shankar was a captain of a seagoing ship. Now, most people have traveled in train or bus or even flown, but very few people have traveled in water. So it was a great thrill for people, but after 1 or 2 days, all this sea, enormous mass of water, not a patch of land, and all of them become bored, they become seasick, that's it. Topi Shankar was a very clever man. He saw that all the passengers were getting bored. So he said, you come to the deck and sing and dance the whole day. I'll provide you with good food and drinks. Topi Shankar had a suitcase full of different kinds of caps. And he would wear a new cap every day. It's a huge umbrella cap. It protects him from the scorching sun, from the rain. At night, when the passengers would sleep, Topi Shankar would take the same cap and give it one more fold. And the second day, he would be wearing a new cap. Now this is what the fire brigade people use. Because they wear a designer cap because they've got to go into a burning house, and if some rubble falls, it injures the spine, protect the spine. Second night, you take the same cap, you do the third fold. Third day, you're wearing a shikari cap, adventurous cap. And the third night, 2 more folds, and this is the most famous cap. I come from Pune, which has a film institute and the film archives, and we're very close to Mumbai, which is the Bollywood. If you've seen any of our Bollywood films, the policeman, the cop, always wears a cap like this. In Marathi, it's called as a Pandu cap, and it's been catapulted to international glory. So this is a Pandu. 4 caps. First is the umbrella cap, second is fireman's cap, third is the shikari cap, and fourth is the umbrella cap. And we must not forget that Topi Shankar, for he was the captain of a ship. Everybody's enjoying the journey very much. They're singing and dancing, good food, good drinks, and all good things must come to an end. Kali badi chaka chon bidi dhura dhar baarish. Samandar mein air aata tha, tufan aata tha, unchi le. What can a small ship do? It can rock and pitch along with the waves. A huge wave comes and smashes the back and knocks it down. All the passengers happy. सबके चेहरे पे हवाएं छूट रही, पसीना आ रहा है कि हम तो पिकनिक मनाने आए और हमारा जहाज 2 टुकड़ों में डूब गया है। अब उर्दू में कहावत है कि बला अकेले नहीं आती, मुसीबत अकेले नहीं आती, छप्पर फाड़ देती है। Another wave strikes the front end and knocks it down. The triangular portion of the ship is called as the bridge. Then a third huge wave comes and knocks the bridge. But the ship is broken into smithereens. टुकड़े टुकड़े हो गए उसके, जहाज डूब जाता है। टोपी शंकर का संदूक में तमाम टोपियां थी, वो भी डूब जाता है। टोपी शंकर डूब जाता है, कुछ नहीं बचता उसके बाद। Just a life jacket. We gave children of this story for 50 years. There are a dozen books in origami which are dedicated to her. It's a tribute. Thank you very much. would like to ask any questions, I'm very happy to time with them.
Thank you so much, Arvind. And we have a few questions.
Hello sir, thank you so much. This was a really great help for me and even my friends. So we are from creative education. So we basically redesign learning in Srishti. My question is कि I have seen this happen many times कि when playing as a concept is discussed, it is looked at with boredom. It is looked at with something that kids do, something that is not there for adults. And I really believe through my 2 years in college, I have really learned that games and playing is not really only for kids. It's a very adult thing also. It doesn't depend on age. So I would really like to ask, what are your insights on this and how can we transform this? So
मैं आपसे इतना कहूँगा जी,
yeah.
मैं सारी जिंदगी में 70 बरस का हो गया, सारी जिंदगी खेलता रहा। I played all my life, also earned a survival wage. It's been a good life. All I can say is this.
Thank you.
Two questions. One is, how many such efforts are there nationally or internationally? And second is, these are absolutely fantastic, but in today's, hectic world where kids are sort of channelized a lot and adults are not distracted enough and doing all sorts of utilitarian things, how much viewing, how much time do people have for these very important activities? Is that
I think
having an impact sufficiently or not?
Well, I think, individually we could have only 2 groups into a center every week. And those coming with the kids into a center was like a laboratory for us, to be in live contact with kids. But our sole purpose was documentation. The first day we swore that we are never going to sell it. Second was, we're going to design for the poorest children, not Maharashtra, but the world. Second was this. And everything would be free. So we would be documenting it. Physically we were working, but this, our films have been viewed by 10 crore people. We've never advertised. We have no means to advertise. They must have liked something about it. 2 crore books have been downloaded to my website. And it just shows the hunger of people for this stuff. Right. Many of the government departments are unable to do this. It doesn't come out of money. And after we left Ayuka, the building is doubled. I don't know about the work. He said the building is doubled. This happens. But we must keep exciting. I was in Azim Premji University and I saw brightly lit eyes. I see enormous hope in the youngsters. If anyone is to blame, it is me and my generation, not the young ones. There is hope in them. Each one of you, and each of you, this is the definition of science which the Buddha gave 2005 years back. If you are from Hyderabad, go to the Vidyaranya school and you would read outside. Don't believe because it is written in your religious text. That's no good enough reason to believe. Don't believe because your grandfather tells you. Don't believe because your teacher tells you. Not good enough reason to believe. Test it against reality. And if you find it to be true and in the benefit of very large numbers, then embrace it. This is Buddha's critical. Examine it with interest, not because a teacher will say it. No. So be bright. I think it's a very huge number. But I must say that people don't document. People don't do beautiful experiments. They don't think it's, how many teachers write diaries? There are crores of teachers in this country with amazing experiences. But very few teachers. It was a Giju Bhai in 1931 who wrote his diary called as Divaswapna. Teachers don't write. I think we must love our work and think that our work will make some little change. We must document. We are very, as a society, we are very poor. We have a strong oral tradition. But writing doesn't come culturally. But we must document. The Chinese are much better at documentation. Right? We create stories when none existed, glorify things when things were in the dark. We are good at that. But I think it's a huge country. And I've worked in 25 countries, and I come back, and I always feel elated when I go to the school. I see hope, actually. That's why I do what I do.
Thank you for that amazing demonstration. I want to ask you, how do you go from abstract ideas to these stories? Like, is there a method you can follow?
You see, I'm fascinated by the theories. There was a time when I was in Delhi, and these film can bottles which I just showed you. There was a shop in Arvind place, very close to where I stayed. Very close to where I stayed. And they were 25, so I bought 1,000 bottles, plastic bottles. My wife just glared at me. What the hell, you're cluttering the house. So I said, I thought very serious, guys. I must assuage her, and I said, look, I work hard. So I'm fascinated by it. I did a book on the film board. What you could make out of it. It comes from the dump, it came out of it. But I'm fascinated by materials. Just materials fascinate me. And 1,000 experiments with plastic bottle, which is a challenge, which is ambitious. Littering not just the garbage cans, but the gardens and parks. So the challenge lies, what all things can you do with a film bottle? And I must tell you, when I encountered the bureaucracy in a government organization, when I went to join the UCA, the two people who came to me, and brilliant. And I told the director, sir, I found the people who like to work with me. He said, you can't do that. You can't get your nieces and nephews inside the organization. We are a government organization, and there are rules and procedures. Right? So I said, appoint a committee. And so they appointed a high. Every committee is a high level committee. I just put some squares in some newspapers. There were 100 people who wanted to get into Ayuka. I said, can you make something from the square? I'm not looking for a PhD or MSc or this qualification or that qualification. That's not the nature of our job. Until the committee said that these two people are heads and shoulders above the rest. I said, thank you. Otherwise I would have left Ayuka along with them. Unless you're good people. It's not the building. It's the passionate people behind it which make it happen.
I'm still curious about the Laurie Baker story. So, does his work inspire any of your works, or did you see this going back to architecture?
I think the most amazing man in my life. Frugal. He was a poet like Arvind. Absolutely. I was privileged to live with him for some time in a room, and which was fascinating. I was in a room, we shared a room, and I bred mosquitoes, so I had the good night put in and shut the windows. The Kerala Shah Sahib Parishad told me that please leave the door open, you would be another guest. In comes Laurie Baker at midnight, shuts the good night, opens the window, and he has 2 sheets which he has sewn, cotton sheets, like a sleeping bag. He gets inside it and snores. In the morning, I saw him. he wet his brush and covered the tap with his thumb. I saw him, I would not, so that not to drop his name. He had a film roll bottle in which he had cotton, he had coconut oil, which he put on his scalp. So this is quintessential lawyer baker. Oh my son. He said, Arvind, you can translate all my books. 5 of his books have translated into Hindi with his English tag. I think there's no one. I knew it in my heart. He just amazing. When the UN announced the first habitat awards in the world, it had to go to no one else but Lord Baker. Privileged to have fundamental. Amazing. And he made you laugh all the time. Don't take yourself very seriously. That's what he got. As a matter of fact, the official Lori Baker website has half the books for mine. They put them there, which maybe it should be that way. Yes.
I have one question. Just like everybody else, I was captivated and transformed into a magic world. And I myself made lots of toys with my kids and also as a kid. So I'm continuing to grow as a child. I have this question, can this whole experiment not be looked at something that kids can enjoy outside? Can this be integrated into schools?
I think people have rattled their minds with this for years, right? The whole structure of the school is this. Teachers say, "Sir, course khatam nahi hota. Aap ye karana keh rahe ho." Main kehta hu, yaar, what is the task? The task of education is not to cover the course, but to uncover it. Cover karna thodi hai yaar. You make a joke out of it. Cover kyun karega? Uncover kar. The greatest teachers in the world, they've uncovered things. Cover to sab log kar rahe hain. It's mushkil. See, there are always, I have found, I've been to Ivy League schools. The best charge 15 lakh rupees is fees. And I've found dead teachers there. And sometimes in a municipal school, you find a teacher with a spark. So there's a whole diversity. For no reason. And wherever teachers have done good work, it is not because of us. It was rooted in their childhood. Someone's parents were activists, or they believed in Gandhi, or they did something which affected. My friend Kush Kumar always told me that, how to recruit a good teacher. He said that we get applications, everyone is a BA, MA. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to choose the better because they're all the same curricula. So you would ask, what are your interests? See, if a teacher is interested in music, willy-nilly he will transmit that passion, rub that passion onto his children. If he's interested in bird watching or reading, something would be rubbed onto the kids without knowing. It will not be part of the curriculum. So the best teachers are one, not those who have a degree, but who have interest in other things around, which are extracurricular. They would be more interesting teachers. These government runs mass programs. Everything is mass, right? Master trainers will train another set of trainers, cascading effect. I've seen this lingo for 50 years. It's a lot of bullshit.
One last question, please.
Thank you so much for your talk. It was really good to be back. A lot of learning is changing from to a very digital platform now for children, and it's also very experimental. What do you feel about that versus working with your hands? And
No, I think all experiments in the world show that the Lego block or the wooden blocks still remain at that age. Human beings have evolved over the years. We don't evolve so fast. It will take another several centuries to get there. But wooden blocks, normal puzzles. The Lego just makes the brick. It's a $25 billion company. And you can make and break and make anything you want. That's what makes it brilliant. Please.
our own Lego bricks because food aren't expensive.
You answered it. I was nominated by the Lego Foundation for the Lego Award, and I got the privilege of meeting the chairperson and see. It's an amazing company. It's a company with a heart. You see, when these the people who were migrating during the war, they went to Germany. Several lakh people. They gave $1 billion for the education of those children. It's a company with a great heart. They know how to make money and make a super product, but it's a people with deep compassion. They want to help poor children. And play is what they not rote learning. Play is primary. Play is very serious business, right? That's what Lego says. It is serious business.
All I can say is thanks so much for bringing this faces this evening. Thank you so much. We can continue this over team refreshments outside. Leave this in the amphitheater. On behalf of the archives and the campus, thank you all for coming. We'll see you next month.